Germiston is a city in the East Rand of Gauteng in South Africa. Germiston is now the seat of the Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Municipality, which includes much of the East Rand, and is also considered part of Greater Johannesburg. History. It was established in the early days of the gold rush when two prospectors, John Jack from the farm of Germiston near Glasgow and August Simmer from Vacha in Germany, struck pay dirt on the farm of Elandsfontein. Both men made fortunes and the town sprang up next to the mine. In 1921, the world's largest gold refinery, the Rand Refinery, was established at Germiston. 70% of the Western world's gold passes through this refinery. Although gold mining gradually wound down in Germiston, to the point that by the end of the 20th century it was no longer a mining center, the Rand Refinery remains as busy as ever. The West Bank Raceway motorsports facility was located in the city, but it was sold to industrial estate developers in November 2007. The raceway was formerly the Gosforth Park Race Club, one of the major horse racing facilities in Gauteng. Germiston Stadium, home stadium of Morica Swallows FC, is also located in the city. This was also the home ground for the Germiston Simmer Rugby Club and has a tartan track for athletics. Architecture. The city has a number of historic buildings. Among these are the St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church, which was built in 1905, and St. Boniface Church, designed by Sir Herbert Baker, which was built in 1910. The church also houses the historic 1910 English Romantic Norman and Beard organ. The Alexander Hotel was also partly designed by Baker, using his traditional stone appearance. This building has recently been completely renovated and now houses a well-known law firm. The builder of the hotel, Alexander Stewart, some of whose descendants still live in Germiston, died when the RMS Lusitania was torpedoed in the First World War on 7 May 1915. The hotel thus remains a memorial to his pioneer work in the city over 100 years ago. Economy. South African Airways moved its head office from Durban to Rand Airport in Germiston on 1 July 1935. It later moved the offices first to Johannesburg, then to Kempton Park. The city is an industrial center with steel manufacture and distribution being the largest industries. It has large railway workshops, a large glassworks, engineering companies, gas distribution firms, and many other heavy and light industries. Demographics. According to the 2001 census, the population of Germiston consisted of 139,719 people living in 49,062 households, and its land area was 129 square kilometers. Of this population, 49.8% described themselves as white, 46.8% as black African, 1.9% as colored, and 1.5% as Indian or Asian. No language was predominant, with the breakdown of first languages being as follows. Education. There are a number of schools in the city, including the Dominican St. Catherine's Convent, which was founded in the city centre in 1908, and then relocated to the suburb of Park Hill Gardens in the 1940s. Germiston High School was founded in 1917, alongside Victoria Lake. For the 1940s to 1963, the girls were based in 4th Avenue in Lambton, at what was known as Germiston Girls High School, whilst the boys remained at the 1917 campus as Germiston Boys High School. In 1964, due to the need to relocate the Afrikaans Delville Primary School, The girls were moved back to combine with the boys in the original historic buildings. Famous past pupils include Dr. Sidney Brenner, winner of the 2002 Nobel Prize. The Germiston Boys High School Cadet Band was known throughout South Africa as one of the greatest school cadet bands ever to compete and parade in South Africa. This cadet band's record of achievement is unparalleled in the history of South African school cadet bands. The band started its success from the year 1952, running up to and including 1964. Often the band would record an average mark of 99% overall. The school boasted a very large and active music center for a number of years, which grew largely due to the work of the late George Burgess. The various jazz and concert bands that were the product of the music center recorded various long-playing records, won awards in various Ashtathfods and national competitions, and appeared on television. Sadly, due to Education Department budget restructuring, the music center was closed. The school still enjoys the singing of an excellent choir. A rowing club, which won the South African National Championships in 1980, is still flourishing, and the oarsmen and women compete at all the school regattas. Transport. Victoria Lake is better known today simply as Germiston Lake. However, the famous sailing and rowing club retains the name of the Victoria Lake Club. The club is home to some of the best canoeists and rowing crews in the country, including the 20-time South African school champions, St. Benedict's College. The lake is very popular at weekends for water skiing and regattas. The lake grounds have recently been re-landscaped and the braai areas and shelters rebuilt. Germiston is also the location of Rand Airport, at one time one of the busiest in Africa and the Southern Hemisphere. Today it caters largely for light aircraft and flying schools, but is also home to the South African Airways Museum. As a result of this, two of the earlier Boeing 747 jumbo aircraft used by SAA now reside there on permanent display. Notable people to come from Germiston include Dr. Sidney Brenner, winner of the 2002 Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine; Trevor Denman, an American sportscaster and public address announcer specializing in thoroughbred horse racing; Ted Grant, Trotskyist politician and theorist; Pierre Issa, Albert Johannesson, professional footballer and first black player to play in the FA Cup; Andre Nel, South African cricket fast bowler; Walter Burgess, aviculturist and finch expert; Stanley Skews, mathematician; Helen Suzman, anti-apartheid activist and politician; Marie Warder, journalist who went on to champion the cause of hemochromatosis; Arlene Dickinson, South African-Canadian entrepreneur; Bobby Locke, professional golfer, winner of 4 Open Championships; George Pavlich, noted Canadian academic in sociology, criminology and legal theory, professor at University of Alberta; John Cundill, journalist, scriptwriter and playwright; Ernie Els, world-famous golfer who attended Delville Primary School; Dr. Crystals, former governor of the South African Reserve Bank, who attended Afrikaans High School Germiston. Coats of arms. Municipal. By 1931, the Germiston municipality had assumed a pseudo-heraldic coat of arms, depicting buck in the veld, a scene showing mineshafts, a railway train in a landscape, and a half-tented ox wagon in a landscape, the quarters separated by a red cross. The motto was Salus Populi Suprema Lex. Municipal. A proper coat of arms was granted by the College of Arms in August 1935. It was registered with the Transvaal Provincial Administration in August 1963 and at the Bureau of Heraldry in February 1968. The arms were gules within 2 bendlets between 2 ox wagons argent, 3 bezants. The crest was a rising falcon. The supporters were 2 eland, each resting a foot on an heraldic fountain. The motto was Salus Populi Suprema Lex.